不可思议啊！天津一楼盘房价
Unbelievable. The price of a property in Tianjin has plummeted. A house that originally cost 1.6 million yuan is now available for just 390,000 yuan. Sadly, even after a 75% price drop, there's still no interest, and it remains unsold.
China's real estate market is still crashing, with sales and construction in trouble. Recently, a topic about a property in Wuqing, Tianjin, dropping from 1.6 million to 390,000 yuan trended on social media, sparking heated discussion. According to Chinese media, the property experiencing a steep drop is the First New Beijing Peninsula project in Tianjin. A local real estate agent said the project was most popular from 2016 to early 2017, with high-rise units selling for 20,000 yuan per square meter. An 83-square-meter apartment cost about 1.6 million yuan. Now, new homes are priced at 7,000 yuan per square meter, and similar second-hand homes cost 400 to 500,000 yuan per unit. It's not unusual for very urgent sales to 390,000 yuan. One homeowner said, "The apartment I bought now has a second-hand price that's basically one-third of what I paid, and some are selling for a quarter of their highest price." Although the New Beijing Peninsula in Tianjin didn't see prices rise as sharply as some popular projects in Yanzhou, Hebei, prices still doubled, and units were hard to come by. However, with purchase restrictions and the pandemic, the project quickly cooled, and prices plummeted. From 2020 to 2023, the prices of second-hand homes in the First New Beijing Peninsula fell sharply, and by the end of 2022, they had almost halved. In 2024, the Shi Rui Kunqing project in the community still has new homes for sale, with prices reduced to about 7,000 yuan per square meter. A 69-square-meter two-bedroom unit cost only about 490,000 yuan, and second-hand prices have fallen even more. Looking at the overall real estate situation in Tianjin Wuqing district, data from Fangtianxia shows that from 2021 to 2024, second-hand home prices have been declining. In May this year, there were 1,900 transactions in the area, a drop of over 16%. It's not just the First New Beijing Peninsula project. The entire real estate market around Beijing has been frozen for the past few years. In 2021, there were reports that house prices in Xianghe, Hebei, near Beijing, were cut at the knees, dropping nearly 70%, and some owners even gave away their homes. One owner, under pressure to pay the mortgage, posted, "I'm the owner of a house on Seoul Boulevard. Because the repayment pressure is too great, I want to give away my house for free. You just need to help me pay the balance." Tianjin's sharp drop in house prices sparked discussions. One mainland financial blogger said, "From 1.6 million yuan to 390,000 yuan, a 75% drop is too exaggerated. It shows how big the real estate bubble was. A few years ago, I saw that prices in several old neighborhoods in Shenzhen also fell by more than 50%. In my opinion, overall house prices are still on a downward trend. Everyone should be cautious when buying a house." Another blogger said, "With fewer babies being born and more houses being built, prices will definitely go down, and they will keep going down, probably to the level of 10 years ago. So if you're thinking of buying a house, rent for a few years first and save a lot of money." Right now, China's real estate market is full of risks, and house prices are far from bottoming out, a fact widely acknowledged. In the future, 80% of house prices may be halved. A house worth 1 million yuan might not even sell for 400,000 yuan. Recently, an expert said that in the future, houses will be as cheap as cabbage because of the low birth rate and the increasing number of houses, leading to a large number of empty homes. The situation is dire. A house bought for 1.6 million yuan 3 years ago has dropped to 1 million yuan. Both my spouse and I are unemployed. We still have to pay 6,000 yuan per month for the mortgage and support children, with monthly expenses totaling 10,000 yuan. We originally planned to sell the house, but the current real estate market is so bad that we deeply regret buying this house. Official data from China also shows that house prices are dropping faster. In May, the price of new homes in 70 large and medium-sized cities, including state-subsidized housing, fell by 0.71% from April, the biggest drop since October 2014. The price of existing homes dropped by 1%, the largest decline since the government started using the current data collection method in 2011. The data also shows that, on a yearly basis, new home prices fell by 3.9% in May, compared to a 3.1% decline in April. The Real Estate Development Prosperity Index was 92.01 in May, continuing its downward trend since November last year. Professor Yao Yang from Peking University pointed out that using overseas experiences to explain China's current housing market, prices need to fall by 40% for the market to correct itself, and it hasn't reached that level yet. The current government has injected too little funding, and local governments are not motivated to expand loan scales, so the market will naturally continue to adjust. If the market adjusts freely, house prices will inevitably keep falling. Professor Yao also said that the rapid development period of the real estate industry is over, and China's economy is looking for new growth points. He predicts that there will still be new real estate policies in the second half of the year, but they might not be the significant measures people are expecting. The sluggish real estate market has also directly affected local governments' income from land sales. The Ministry of Finance recently released the latest fiscal revenue and expenditure data, showing that in the first 5 months of the year, income from the transfer of state-owned land use rights, also called land sales income, was nearly 1.3 trillion yuan, with the decline continuing to widen. Additionally, in May alone, land sales income fell further, down 27.4% year-on-year. Looking at individual provinces, the Yunnan Provincial Department of Finance reported that in the first 5 months of this year, income from the transfer of state-owned land use rights was 11.5 billion yuan, down 22.5% year-on-year, with the decline widening by 6.6 percentage points compared to the first 4 months. The Jilin Provincial Department of Finance reported that in the first 5 months of this year, land sales income was 6.3 billion yuan, down 36.5% year-on-year. The Hainan Provincial Department of Finance reported that in the first 5 months of this year, local government fund income, mainly from land sales, was about 9.11 billion yuan, down 12.4% year-on-year, with the decline remaining steady compared to the first 4 months. According to data from the Yuekai Securities Research Institute, in the first 5 months of this year, 30 provinces' land sales transaction prices, including phased payments for land auctions and agreement sales, saw 26 provinces experiencing negative growth, with 15 provinces seeing year-on-year declines of more than 30%, including Guangdong with negative 57.5%, Sichuan with negative 42.7%, and Jiangsu with negative 42.6%. In response, Luo Zhiheng, chief economist at Yuekai Securities, told Yi Cai that the land market remains sluggish and land fiscal revenue is expected to further decline in 2024. He predicts that national fiscal land sales revenue will be 4.7 trillion yuan in 2024, down by about 1.1 trillion yuan, a 19% year-on-year decline. The continued decline in local land sales revenue is mainly due to the prolonged downturn in the real estate market, tight developer finances, and insufficient home buying willingness among residents, leading to simultaneous declines in both the volume and price of local land sales. Just a few years ago, the Chinese Communist Party introduced policy measures across China to restrict the development of the real estate industry. But the distorted development of the real estate industry, along with the government's strict implementation of a 3-year zero-COVID policy and other measures, severely hit economic growth. The real estate industry, which once accounted for nearly half of China's economy, has nearly collapsed, leaving tens of thousands of Chinese families bankrupt and severely dragging down overall economic growth, even threatening China's financial stability. In response to this clear situation, the government has recently introduced frequent measures to support and boost the real estate industry, but these efforts have had little effect, with the market continuing to decline. To save the housing market, China is now targeting rural homestead land. Recently, places like Fengyang in Anhui, Nantong in Jiangsu, and Ezhou in Hubei have introduced new real estate policies, encouraging farmers to give up their rural homestead land to buy houses in cities. Homestead land refers to collective construction land that agricultural populations can use to build homes without paying any land fees, providing welfare and social security functions. The houses built on homestead land belong to the farmers, but they only have the right to use them, not own them. The Fengyang County government in Anhui stated that from June 20th to the end of this year, farmers who voluntarily give up their rural homestead land and build houses in cities can receive a one-time housing subsidy of 50,000 yuan. The latest real estate policy in Nantong, Jiangsu, called Tongten measures, includes provisions effective until June 30th next year. These measures offer a 1.5% rebate on the total purchase price for new homes in the main urban area. Additionally, those who voluntarily give up their rural homestead land and move to the city to buy a house will receive a certain amount of financial support. Previously, Ezhou in Hubei also introduced similar policies, encouraging rural residents to buy homes in the city with subsidies based on the area of the homestead land they give up. However, this new policy has sparked widespread opposition online. According to Voice of America, Ren Fei, a farmer from Sichuan, said that this policy hasn't been implemented in his rural area yet, but he expects farmers' reactions to be cold. He believes that homestead land is the root of farmers' lives. Once they lose it, they can't return to rural life, and even if they do, they wouldn't know what to do. For rural people, their ancestral homes are a source of inner peace and stability, and they wouldn't easily give them up. Ren Fei thinks that the government's approach is essentially uprooting farmers from their foundations. Ren Fei also said that the government has introduced many policies to save the housing market, but he doesn't understand why they are targeting homestead land. He feels that those who can buy houses have already done so, and the government is now going after people who have no need to buy houses. He added that those remaining in rural lands are generally poorer and often elderly. If they exchange their valuable homestead land for 50,000 yuan, it wouldn't even cover a down payment in the city. Moreover, with the current poor economic conditions in China, jobs in cities are hard to find. If rural people take 50,000 yuan to the city, they wouldn't be able to afford a house or find a job to pay a mortgage. They would lose both their rural home and have no stable place to live, potentially ending up homeless and wandering, which is worse than staying in the countryside. Mr. Zhang, a former migrant worker and rights activist, stated that under current Chinese law, transferring rural homestead land requires expropriation. However, the government is now encouraging farmers to give up their land for 50,000 yuan, raising concerns about this being a form of coercion. Zhang mentioned that to achieve their policy goals, the government might use various methods, similar to when the real estate market was booming. During that time, the government often forced landowners to sign voluntary demolition agreements through coercive means. Although these agreements appeared voluntary, they were enforced through intimidation and pressure, making it hard to ensure that such tactics won't be used again with this policy. Zhang argued that the issues facing farmers and rural land are fundamental, and the state should support and protect them. Forcing farmers to give up their land for 50,000 yuan could lead to exploitative practices. He predicted that this would derail the so-called new rural construction, leading to more unfinished and abandoned projects. Chinese President Xi Jinping has repeatedly emphasized building a more beautiful and livable socialist new countryside, but Zhang warned that if this policy spreads, farmers will be forced to leave their homes, making rural areas more desolate. He questioned covering one mistake with another, turning one failed project into another failed project. Does that make any sense? Some Chinese netizens have remarked that wherever there is a crisis of overcapacity, like in late 2007 with the home appliance subsidy program, or in early 2009 with the vehicle subsidy program, the rural folks always open their arms and wallets at critical moments, turning crises into opportunities and stabilizing the economy. They ask, is it now the rural folks' turn to save the day again? Farmers have diligently helped the country through numerous crises, and now not only are they not rewarded, but their rural foundation is being destroyed. Offering a few tens of thousands to take away their only property, those proposing this are either foolish or malicious. Director of the Institute of the National Defense and Security Research in Taiwan, Sheng Mingshi, analyzed that China's policy of encouraging farmers to give up their rural homesteads and buy homes in cities likely has three goals: saving the housing market, ensuring food security, and eliminating poverty. He said that if farmers were wealthy, they could buy good houses in the city and sell them for a profit, but the problem now is that no one is buying houses in the cities, so the government is targeting rural people. However, farmers are generally not wealthy. Once they sell their homesteads, what will they live on? Given China's current poor economic conditions, it's hard to find jobs. Shen Mingshi added, if you take farmers away from their homesteads where they rely on production, it creates a vicious cycle and leads to social instability. According to the Chinese government, the vacated homesteads will be returned to the rural collective for recultivation, but Shen Mingshi questioned who would farm the land if the farmers have all moved to the city. In trying to revive the real estate market, the government's efforts have been described by mainland citizens as acknowledging the chaotic reality of the housing market. The government is the largest stakeholder, much like a major shareholder. This deep involvement implies a motive to see the market develop stably and healthily. However, if the government tries to control everything and, during crises, prioritizes its own interests over those of developers, such as by excessively taxing them, and buyers, such as discouraging developers from lowering prices, it exacerbates the crisis, undermining the market recovery efforts and backfiring. This is akin to the situation with Evergrande, where the major shareholders prioritized their interests over those of minority shareholders, creditors, and homebuyers, ultimately dragging everyone down. Is there no solution to the current situation? There is. The key lies in 8 words: seek truth from facts and govern for the public. Reflecting on this, one cannot help but sigh deeply.